Hi, I'm Laura, a 35-year-old single mom trying to make the best of this chaotic world. It's just me, my amazing 12-year-old daughter Emily, and our snug little home in the suburbs. It might not be grand, but it's ours. I work tirelessly as a nurse, taking on long shifts to ensure we have what we need. Emily is a real gem, sharp as a tack with a boundless creative spirit. Her curly hair, which seems to have a life of its own, is her signature. She adores using it as a canvas for her self-expression. Then there's Gertrude, my ex-mother-in-law, who's a constant source of stress. At 68, she's a no-nonsense widow who lives too close for comfort. While I'm grateful for her help with Emily after school, her incessant criticisms drive me crazy. Laura, dear, don't you think Emily's hair is a bit unruly? Her voice always seems to come at the worst times. I take a deep breath and reply, it's just hair, Gertrude. She likes it like that. In my day, we knew how to present ourselves properly, she says with a huff. I remind myself to keep calm, knowing I need the help. Thankfully, there's Sarah, my best friend and fellow nurse, who's my rock. She's always there to listen or lend a hand when Gertrude's comments become unbearable. Girl, I don't know how you put up with that old bat, Sarah says one day over coffee. You've got the patience of a saint. I chuckle. Believe me, it's wearing thin. Then there's Michael, my neighbor. He's always offering to help with odd jobs around the house. I've noticed the way he looks at me, but after everything with Emily's dad, I'm not rushing into dating again. Hey, Laura, need a hand with those boxes? Michael calls out as I struggle in the driveway. Thanks, Michael. You're a lifesaver, I say, trying not to be distracted by how his shirt fits him as he lifts a heavy box. Life has its bright spots, good neighbors, and helpful friends. The real challenge is balancing my parenting with Gertrude's constant interference. During one dinner, she scolds Emily, sit up straight, a lady doesn't slouch. I see Emily's shoulders slump further. Mom, do I have to listen to her? Just try your best, sweetie, I reply, shooting Gertrude a warning glance. We clearly have different views on what's important. Different ideas indeed, Gertrude mutters. If you'd listen to me, Laura, that child wouldn't be so unruly. I clench my fists under the table. Emily isn't unruly. She's being herself, and I won't suppress that. Mark my words, Laura. Without proper discipline, she'll end up in trouble. As I watch Emily retreat to her room, her wild curls bouncing with each step, I wonder how long I can maintain this delicate balance. Something's got to give, and I have a feeling it's not going to be pretty when it does. I was beyond exhausted after that extra shift at the hospital. All I wanted was to collapse into bed and hold my precious daughter, but as soon as I walked through the door, a deep sense of dread settled over me. Emily, sweetie, I'm home, I called out, but the silence that greeted me was unsettling. I found her curled up in bed, sobbing uncontrollably. My heart dropped when I saw what had been done. Her once beautiful curls were gone. Her head was shaved clean. Mom, Emily cried, throwing herself into my arms. Grandma did this while I was sleeping. I held her close, struggling to keep my own emotions in check. Shh. It's okay. We'll fix this. But inside, I was seething with fury. How could Gertrude do this to my child? I stormed into the living room where Gertrude sat as if nothing had happened. What did you do? I yelled. Gertrude remained calm, almost indifferent. I did what needed to be done. That child was becoming far too vain and disobedient. Vain? Disobedient? She's 12 years old. Precisely. And it's high time she learned some discipline. In my day. This isn't your day. I cut her off. This is assault. I'm calling the police. Gertrude scoffed, unbothered. Don't be dramatic, Laura. I've put up with your lax parenting long enough. Someone had to intervene before Emily became a delinquent like her father. That was the last straw. Get out of my house, now. Gertrude sneered, gladly. Mark my words. You'll regret not heeding my advice. That girl needs a firm hand. As she gathered her things, the weight of what had happened crashed down on me. I sank to the floor, tears streaming down my face. A knock on the door pulled me from my despair. It was Michael, looking concerned. Laura, is everything okay? I heard shouting. One look at my face told him it wasn't. What happened? He asked softly, his concern evident. I couldn't speak. I just pointed toward Emily's room. Michael's eyes widened in shock when he saw her. Oh my God, who did this? Gertrude, I managed to choke out, my voice shaking with anger. Michael's expression hardened. That's it, I'm calling the police. No, Emily cried, her voice breaking. I don't want anyone to see me like this. I hugged her tighter. trying to soothe her. It's okay, sweetheart. We don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. Michael knelt beside us, his expression gentle. Is there anything I can do? Before I could respond, my phone rang. It was Sarah. Laura, what's going on? I got your missed call, and you sounded upset in the voicemail. Through my sobs, I tried to explain. That terrible woman. Sarah interrupted. I'm coming over right now. Within minutes, she arrived with bags full of hats, scarves, and photos of cute pixie cuts. We're going to get through this, she said, determined. Emily managed a weak smile as Sarah worked to salvage what was left of her hair. While Sarah was busy, I filled Michael in on the full story with Gertrude. I can't believe I let that woman near Emily, I said, my self-loathing evident. Michael squeezed my hand. This isn't your fault, Laura. You were just trying to provide for your daughter. He's right, Sarah added. The only person to blame here is Gertrude. I nodded, but guilt still weighed heavily on me. How had I been so blind? As the night went on, Emily eventually fell into an exhausted sleep. Sarah and Michael insisted on staying, camping out in the living room, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. I knew I had to find a way to protect Emily from any more harm and make things right. I vowed that Gertrude would face the consequences for what she'd done to my daughter. Emily deserved nothing less. The following days blurred into a mix of tears, anger, and sleepless nights. Emily refused to leave her room, let alone go to school, so I called in sick, knowing she needed me more than ever. Sweetie, you can't stay hidden forever, I said softly, sitting on the edge of her bed. I look like a freak, Mom, Emily sobbed. Everyone's going to laugh at me. My heart shattered for her. No, honey, you're beautiful inside and out. We'll get through this together. Our first stop was the police station, but it was a disappointment. I'm sorry, ma'am, but since there was no physical harm, this is considered a civil matter, the officer said, his disinterest evident. No physical harm? I snapped. Look at my daughter. But the rules were clear. Our next step was to consult a lawyer. We can definitely pursue charges for emotional abuse and sue for damages, the lawyer explained, but it won't be straightforward. I didn't care. I was determined to make Gertrude pay. Sarah was a lifesaver through the whole ordeal. She helped me document everything, photos, timelines, and more. We're going to make sure that old witch gets what she deserves, Sarah vowed as we worked. Meanwhile, Michael was working his own connections. I have a friend who specializes in family law, he said. He's willing to take your case pro bono. I was grateful beyond words, but there was no time for gratitude. Things were about to get even more complicated. It began with whispers at the grocery store, sideways glances from neighbors, and then came the calls from distant relatives. Laura, is it true you've been neglecting Emily? My cousin asked. It dawned on me that Gertrude was retaliating. She was spreading lies, trying to paint me as an unfit mother. I raged to Sarah and Michael. She's trying to turn everyone against me. But Gertrude had underestimated me. I began investigating, reaching out to old babysitters, family friends, anyone who had interacted with her and Emily. The stories I uncovered were chilling. Grandma said if I told you, she'd send me away to boarding school, Emily revealed one night, tears streaming down her face. She used to lock me in the closet when I misbehaved. My heart ached with both fury and guilt. How could I have missed this? It's not your fault, I reassured her, but I promise you, Grandma will never hurt you again. With Sarah and Michael's help, we devised a plan. We installed hidden cameras around the house and coached Emily on how to safely gather evidence if Gertrude tried to contact her. We were prepared for the fight ahead, determined to protect Emily and hold Gertrude accountable for her actions. Remember, kiddo, Michael said, showing Emily how to use the voice recorder on her phone. If Grandma calls or shows up, hit this button right away. Emily nodded, her face serious. I won't let you down, Mom. You could never let me down, baby, I said, pulling her into a tight hug. We're in this together. As we wrapped up our preparations, a steely resolve took hold of me. Gertrude thought she could intimidate and manipulate her way to victory, but she had no idea what was coming. This mama bear was ready to fight, and I wasn't about to back down. All right, team, I said, glancing at Sarah and Michael. Let's take this witch down. The trap was set. Now we just had to wait for Gertrude to make her move. When she did, we'd be ready. The day of the trial arrived, and my nerves were on edge. Emily squeezed my hand as we walked into the courtroom. You got this, Mom, she whispered. Our lawyer presented the extensive evidence we had gathered. The The hidden camera footage was damning, showing Gertrude storming into our home and hurling threats at Emily. "You ungrateful little brat," Gertrude's voice rang out in the courtroom. "I'll teach you to disobey me." The judge's expression grew darker with each piece of evidence. One by one, witnesses took the stand, former babysitters, family friends, even Emily's old piano teacher. They all recounted stories of Gertrude's cruelty. "She threatened to fire me if I didn't make Emily practice for 3 hours a day," the piano teacher testified. But the most powerful moment was Emily's own testimony. "My brave girl took the stand, her voice trembling but resolute. Gertrude said if I ever told Mom what she did, she'd make sure I was sent away," Emily said, her eyes brimming with tears. "I struggled to hold back my own. How had I not seen this sooner?" Gertrude's lawyer tried to portray her as a concerned grandmother, but the damage was done. The truth was laid bare. When the judge announced his verdict, I felt a wave of relief wash over me. "This court grants a permanent restraining order against the defendant," he declared. Additionally, significant damages are awarded for the plaintiff's therapy and emotional distress. With Gertrude out of our lives for good, she approached us outside the courtroom, tears streaming down her face. "Laura, Emily, I'm so sorry," she began. I cut her off, my voice icy. "Save it, Gertrude, you're dead to us." As we walked away, a heavy weight seemed to lift off my shoulders. The following months were challenging, but we faced them together. Emily started therapy and slowly began to emerge from her shell. One evening, as we sat around the dinner table with Sarah and Michael, Emily made a heartfelt announcement. "I want to donate the money from the lawsuit," she said, her voice steady, "to help other kids like me." I was overwhelmed with pride. As for Michael and me, well, let's just say he became an integral part of our lives. His unwavering support through it all meant the world to us. The real turning point came about 6 months after the trial. Emily and I were at the hair salon, and for the first time since the incident, she was genuinely excited about her hair. "What do you think about purple streaks, Mom?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. I couldn't help but smile. "I think purple streaks sound fantastic, sweetie." As the stylist worked her magic, I watched Emily's reflection in the mirror. For the first time in months, she was truly smiling, her joy radiating in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. "You know what, Mom?" she said, her voice brimming with newfound confidence. "I think we're going to be okay." I squeezed her hand gently. "Yeah, sweetheart, we're going to be just fine." Seeing my daughter's bold new hairstyle, a symbol of her resilience and our journey, made me realize how far we had come. Gertrude had tried to break us, but instead, she had only made us stronger. As we left the salon with our heads held high, I understood an important lesson. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about living well on your own terms. And that's exactly what we were doing.